back with another short little drawing today of what's in my sketchbook. We're going to do a heart, a simple heart, but we're going to do it in an optical illusion style, right? Optical illusions, what do? They trick the mind. So we're going to do something really simple since Valentine's Day is right around the corner and create a heart that looks like it's kind of 3D popping off the page. You may have done this in elementary school where you've used a hand or something else, but we're just going to take it up a notch with some shading and some fun ideas with it. So take a look. This is a heart. It's halfway done, but it's looking like it's popping off the page, right? With some simple lines on there that give it an illusion. All right, I have purposely only done half of it because I want to show you with shading with pencil as well how that would come out. So again, this is just a small little sketch of it in pencil, kind of shows you that same element of 3D, and it's only created with lines, which is so cool. So to get started on this project, all we're going to need is some paper. You are going to be drawing a heart. So if you are a little bit OCD like myself and everything has to be perfect and you're having a hard time drawing that heart, get another piece of paper, draw half a heart on it, and then cut it out so you have this perfect little heart there that you can trace onto your paper when you get started, okay? So again, we're going to do this short little piece and it's going to look amazing with some proper shading. And if you want to do it in color, get those colored pencils out, or if you just want to do it in black and white with the shading, it'll look awesome. All right, let's go over some supplies that we would need to get started. Now, this is the most amount that you would need. You can do this project with just pencil and paper. You don't need anything else. But if you want to do it and make it a little bit more of an elaborate project and you have these supplies, by all means pull them out. So we're going to have, this is in case you want to cut out your heart that I talked about. We're going to have a scissor and an extra piece of scrap paper you can use. Colored pencils if you need them. Scissors to cut that out. Of course, your pencil and your erasers, okay? A ruler if you have one, or a straight edge, it's not necessary. And then these are some blending tools, an ebony pencil as well as a smudge stick, but again, you do not have to have these to do this project. And then you can have some paper for this as well. So any size is fine, and that will do. So let's get started on the first step. We're going to trace a heart onto our piece of paper here. And remember, you can draw half a heart onto a folded piece of paper, cut it out, and then that way you'll have a heart template. All right, so you can take that heart template and your pencil, center it on your page, and you're gonna go ahead and trace around it. Oops, I'll hang up there. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and trace all around it so I have my perfect heart. Now remember, we talked about several different ways we could do the heart. The first one we're going to talk about is this one to make it look like it's puffy and off the page, and we're using colored pencils. But you can also do this project in black and white with just your pencil to make it look the same way, okay? And I'll show you how to do that. But if you're kind of saying like, you know, I did a project like this in elementary school, or I've done something else like this, then maybe we could step it up a notch. And you can take a heart and take a look at this one. It looks like it's broken and all like holding together with the tape on the page at different angles, and the shading has a lot to do with this one. So I will show you how to do this one, but to get started, we're going to keep it simple with the heart the way we saw it the first time. So we've traced our image around there, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start out with a like a circle that I'm going to go in a curved shape, and it needs to come right up to the top of where that heart dips down. And it's going to look like a sad smile. And you want to get a really good arch on that so that it goes up and back down, okay? Once you do that first one, you're going to work up, and you're going to do the same thing. Up and down, and then you're going to do the same thing on this one, up and back down. And then do the next row. And then keep it symmetrical by doing both sides at the same time. That helps. The next one. Okay, and then one more, even though it doesn't look like it might fit, that's really important that you get that last one at the top there. And if you need to adjust any of your lines, feel free to erase. Getting it on there pretty quick, but afterwards I usually do an assessment of everything to make sure that my lines look good and I'm ready to go. Okay, so I've done all of the above lines, so now I'm going to do the below lines, and I'm just going to follow that sad smile and keep going. So I'm going to keep going. Your lines can be a little sketchy right now, don't worry about that. You just want to make sure that it's symmetrical looking so that your sad smile dips down on about the same spot as it is on the other side, its opposite side. And they're going to look like pieces of tape going across. If it's a little too hard for you to do it that way, you can always turn your page and they look like skinny C's, the letter C, and you can go down that way. Sometimes it really helps to keep your palm, the side of your palm on the table, because it like steadies your hand really good. And then you can get those lines going in there all the way around. Now you don't want your stripes to be too skinny because then it's going to be very hard to get this whole thing done. All right, you can see about the width in between each piece of tape here or ribbon. And I'm working my way all the way down, one last one there. And take a look, now I've got that nice curved line that's going to give it the optical illusion look. If you make your line straight, there's not going to be an optical illusion, okay? So now the next step is to get those straight lines going across. These ones that go on either side, okay? So just do one side at a time. If you have a ruler, that's great. You can take and just do one side at a time. You can line it up so wherever the line ends, you want to start from there and draw a line that is parallel to the top of your page. So parallel is two lines that never meet, right? So this has to be parallel to this, the same amount of space up here. And then you also want to draw one across the top of the heart. All right, so we're going to do that and get that on there, get the one at the top going. Okay, and then now you're going to do the same thing. Find where those the line is and then draw a line straight over. If it looks like it might not be parallel, you can go in and fix that, but just make sure they're all parallel. If you don't have a ruler and it's too hard for you to make a straight line, you can turn it sideways and just sketch those lines going straight down. Okay, so I'm going to do that on both sides. Keep checking yourself to make sure they're parallel, okay? Because sometimes you may start to dip down a little bit and you're going to say, whoa, when did that start happening? And so every few lines, check yourself to make sure that you're doing these nice straight lines going across and that they match up with the end line here, okay? And then once you get this side done, you're going to go and do the same thing on the other side, and you're going to connect these little lines in between as well, okay? So go ahead and get all of your lines drawn, and we'll move on to the next step. Okay, I've checked all my lines and I'm pretty satisfied with it to get started. So we're going to start with pencil only, okay? Again, if you have the darker sketching pencils and you want to use those to do your shading and the smudge tool, that's fine. You can use your fingers if you don't have a smudge tool. And if you just have your regular pencil, let's just start out with that. In order to create that illusion, all right, we're going to have it be darker on the edges, like a medium gray. Sometimes I like to use my pencil like this so I can get that side effect. Okay, and I'm going to start on that second stripe down. And then I'm going to just feather it out just a little bit. And then on the other side, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to get that medium gray in there and then feather it out just a little bit. And then I can take my finger and just smudge it. Okay, so that's cool because I've got my little light source going on right there. And then what's going to really make it pop off the page is your darkest area where you're going to use the pencil. The darkest area is going to be around the outer edge. And you want to kind of like feather it out a little bit because you don't want it to look like it's just a stripe around there, okay? So notice how I'm going from a super dark, solid black, and then I'm getting it to a medium gray, And then I'm doing what's called a value scale, where I just kind of like feather it out some more. And then I'm going to take my finger and just kind of blend it. I can blend it a little bit even with my eraser, so that I can just not see any lines and get that coming out. So again, the darkest area is going to be around there. Now you can go over your stripe afterwards, or your tape, to get a nice dark look in there. And we're going to do one more row here, so I want to show you. Again, I'm going to go from a medium gray here, medium gray, feather that out a little bit lighter. If you want to go a little bit darker, feather that out. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Medium gray in there. Then feather it out a little bit lighter, not putting any graphite in the middle area at all, so that I could blend this side. Remember, I'm blending the same direction I drew too, right? I'm not blending up and down this way. And then I'm going to go ahead and get that larger that larger line in there dark, right? So I've got both lines in there pretty dark. And then this part here is going to be really dark, right? And I don't want that striped look, so I'm going to try to get it super dark around the edge, and then feather it out just a little bit and go in there and blend it again and get that a little bit darker in there. Okay, so that's just using a regular pencil. If you do have the ebony pencil, you can use that as well. So you can see what a difference that's making. And then when I go in on the other side and do the same thing, make this be really dark right here, feather that out, make this be really dark. That's when you're going to start to see your piece look like it's going to be popping off the page. Right around there. So a lot of it has to do with the shading on this and getting that to a point. And then if it's a little bit too dark in here, you can take your eraser, lightly go in the middle area to create that highlight, back out some of that, so that you're really going to get that nice look of it popping off the page. So you're going to continue doing that all the way down to the bottom, get that edge done all the way around. Let's take a look at how we would color the colored heart. And again, we're going to do it in the same way that we did the black and white, same shading techniques. I used 2 different colors here per row to make this, and I've got a pattern going of several colors. So my next pattern would be purple. So I would start again in that same spot, making this a very dark purple. All right, and I'm going to feather out my lines a little bit and go a little bit lighter on my wrist there as it comes out. So this is the darkest area here. I'm keeping that curve. I always color in the same direction of that curve. Then I'm going to pull out the lighter color and go right into that and over it, and take a look at how well that blends. I like to use these Prismacolors. These are really good coloring pencils that you can get, and they have a lot more oil in them, so the blending quality is great. And they are a little expensive, but they do sell them at Michael's, and they are never on sale. So if you want to, the best thing to do is wait for your coupon that you get, that 40% off coupon, or sometimes they even have a 50% off. You can get that, and that really is a good bargain then. So now I'm looking on the end again. I don't want to leave that line there. So I'm going to like feather that up again at different lengths. Remember, different lengths, and get my wrist going a little bit lighter in there. And then I can always take this pencil and go back over it to really blend it. Now, if I wanted a little bit lighter of a highlight in the middle, I can take an eraser and kind of like back out some of that just a little bit. All right. So I would do that for every row. Again, I'm going to get down here again. This is going to be the darkest. So I'm going to go super dark, feather it out a little bit lighter, and then pull the other pencil in, get that going all the way to the edge. Now I'm going to take a black pencil to really get that darker in there, so that looks like it's going to pop a little bit more. Okay, and I would do the same thing on both sides on this as well. This one was the dark green in there, dark, or the bluish green, the teal color. Again, coming out lighter. And then that goes into my lighter blue that I have. Okay, blend that all together. Dark purple goes in here. It's a pretty purple. It's like a magenta purple. It's really pretty. Blend that out. And then get the lighter purple. Do that to the end. And the last step on each of these, of course, is going back in and getting that really dark area. So your shading has a lot to do with this heart. The shading and the curved lines make it pop off the page there. All right, and then you're ready for your next color. Okay, so you can keep doing that all the way down, and you can just do the black and white version. Now let's take a look at that more advanced heart. All right, now we're going to take a look at the more advanced heart. And again, it follows those same rules of shading. So, and we can use the exact same heart cutout that we made to trace. So we're going to get our heart and we're going to trace it onto our page. Do that again. All right, now it's traced on there. So we want to do the same thing. We can't just put stripes going straight, okay? That's not going to work. Everything has to be curved in order for this optical illusion to work. So we're going to go ahead and do a curved piece of tape or whatever it's going to be, if it's cloth that's wrapped around there, and put maybe the first one on there like that. Then we're going to go in and do another one, and it's going to cross over. So again, everything has to be curved. All right, so I'm going to cross this over here. I'm going to do another one that crosses over in the middle. And right now I'm just going over all my lines. We'll erase all of that later. This one can go way up. Okay, and I'm going to do a few more that are going to come down over here. One that comes up. I'm always arching that line, right? It's always curved. And I'll do one more that goes across here. And some of these lines you can't see. So now you're going to be like, whoa, how do I even begin to erase those lines so I know what's going on? It looks like a crazy freeway, an overhead of a freeway. So let's just start slowly. This piece is going to overlap this piece. This piece is going to overlap these two pieces. Oops, it looks like I have a little colored pencil on my thing there. All right, this one is going to overlap this one perhaps. So you want to erase that line. And then you can go back in there and get some of these lines drawn back in there. This is going to overlap over there. And maybe it goes under and you want to put this on top. So it really looks like it's wrapped around there good. So as long as you're doing this slowly, I don't think you'll get too confused. And then you can say, oh, I want that to go on top of this one. So you're going to erase those lines that are the underneath lines. All right, and same with this. I want this to go on top. If I can't see it all the way. Now this is going to be a little different. You're not going to put your lines going, your tape lines going straight across. Sometimes when you tape something, if you've wrapped presents or something, and then that tape goes off to the side and it's a little bit off. So you don't have to worry. There's pretty much no way to do these lines wrong, okay? So I'm just going to start by making some of these tape pieces go off in different angles. So this one might be going off like this, and you can go back in with a ruler if you want to. So they might be just a little bit curved and they can overlap. They can go underneath. This piece can go underneath. And I think that's going to give it more of a realistic look if you get a little bit of an angle going on these pieces of tape. Okay, this one can easily have an angle going up. This one can go out this way. This one can go there, over. There's another one underneath here that you can't, whoops, did not mean to do that. That stays like that. This one has another piece of tape underneath it. So you really just have to make sure you get all your tape lines in there. All right, I think we have that one. And then this wasn't one more over here, and you might not see all of that other line. So I think we have all of them put on there now. And if, like I said, if you need to, go in and go over these lines again so that you know exactly which are the good ones, which ones overlap. Okay, and go back in and go over all of that. And then your shading is going to be done in the exact same way. So let's take a look again at this one. Darker, a medium gray in here, goes to a lighter. And then where they go underneath another piece of tape, it's going to be dark. Okay, that's a little shadow in there. And then around your heart, again, it's really dark, right? So where those pieces of tape come off. So, and then I did the broken heart at the very end. So I kind of went through and I said, okay, that's going to start there to be cracked. And then I'm going to make that line so that you can really see it come over like that. And then all I did was make it, I'm going to start from the bottom part here, and I'm going to mimic that same line going all the way around and up. You might not see too much of it over there. This part's really held together there. And then that would be a solid black in there that you would draw. So let's just do a couple of these lines so that you can see. This is the only one that I see here that was not done. This one, that's why. Okay, the overlapping there. So let's start with this one. I'm going to do that medium gray in here. Feather it out. Not do anything in the middle. Same thing on the other side. Medium gray on the end. Start to feather that out. If you have a smudge tool, look at how nice that is to use, right? Instead of your finger, go ahead and blend that across. You can see how well that blends. Always clean up any lines that it's overflowing onto. All right, and now the trick you can do is go back in with the eraser, and you can erase a little bit of that middle area to give you your highlight as well. Okay, so you can go back in. The important part is you can go back in too and make these edges be nice and crisp. Okay, that's going to really help. And then you're right where the heart is, the outer edge, remember, that's going to be the darkest area. So now I can take and make that really dark, feather that out a little bit, and get those dark lines on the side. And then you can get your smudge tool. If you don't have the smudge tool, you can still use your fingers. Sometimes people take a napkin and put it around their finger too, and that helps. So if you need to still make this area a little bit darker afterwards, you can. And do the same thing on the other side. Go around it like this, really dark first, and then get those edges in there so that it's feathered out. You don't see how I'm always feathering it out so that it looks like hairs on the end. That way you don't, it's not going to have like that, look like stripes at all. You don't want a stripe of dark and then a stripe of medium and then a stripe of light. All right, and again, go back in. This is important, and get that nice dark line in there. So you're going to do that to your whole heart. This part that I was talking about before would be colored in a nice solid black. So get your outline done first so that you can stay inside your lines. Get that nice and solid in there. And then start working all the way around. You can see at the very end, I also added a little bit of shading to the outer part of the heart, and what that does is give it more of a rounded look as well. So these edges around here would be shaded. Kind of wanted it to look like the heart had, kind of been beat up a little bit. So it's okay that it has some of these things that look like it's bruised or something. We kind of went from this really pretty heart with all the colors on it. And again, you can do something like this for Valentine's. It would be all pretty pinks and purples or shades of red and oranges and yellows, anything like that. Or you can step it up a notch and do the taped broken heart. Thanks so much.